Please join me in giving a warm welcome to E! News correspondent, Will Marfuggi.
Hi, guys. That was an episode, huh? How are we all feeling after that, all right? Well, we've got a fun night planned for you, hopefully. If you get up and leave, we're going to find you, so please don't do that. Please welcome Anne Heche.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I guess I'm here because the lead just couldn't make it.
What? Is he dead?
I mean, what's going to happen?
Just
without
tell
the
us
lead of
what
our
happens.
show? Oh, no. Oh, okay, I'll tell you the whole story.
Thank you.
Okay, I won't.
Please, no.
He's bleeding a lot.
He is
He hasn't
bleeding a lot.
recovered yet.
Has it been hard for you to, not as of yet, has it been hard for you to keep the secrets of this show for how long now?
Oh, my goodness. It took us about a year to shoot 10 episodes, which, as you all know, is kind of unheard of. So over the course of a year, we had to keep pretty quiet. And now I'm just going to blab everything. I don't care. I'll tell you the end. He's not going to live.
No. So with every,
Dude,
as I would imagine on a
this
show,
show's going to go on for 10 years. What are you talking about?
I would imagine on a show like this, where things are probably kept under wraps.
Yes.
I would imagine people ask you what's going to happen all the time. Like, have you gotten good at dodging the spoilers?
Oh, totally. I just say the opposite of what it is. It's just a game, really. Like, oh, you want to know what happens with the cow? The cow turns black. You're just like, whatever, it's not red. You just start having fun with it because obviously the interest is in you figuring out what's going on. So, I either do that or just play daft. Like, I didn't read it. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little more about this episode. Lynn has had a couple of rough episodes. What's her headspace at the end of this one?
Wait, did I punch somebody in this one yet?
What?
I just wanted to. I didn't. See, I just gave something away. My headspace then is what's happening with my boss, Applesauce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, have I climbed a building?
You climbed the building.
Oh, awesome.
That
was my funnest day. I
you
loved
got some
it. I was
action to
like
do
an
in this
action
one.
adventure hero. It was terrific watching my double do that. But when I came in that window, boy, could I breathe. Wow. She scales a building. Not at all. That's where I am, right? My boss.
Yeah.
My
You're
boss
hiding
is.
in the
I'm
closet.
starting to doubt my boss. It took me a while. I thought Lynn was a little slow, to be honest with you. I was like, why is she not paying attention to anything? She'll still have sex with the guy, but she doesn't believe him, and she thinks he's crazy. And her boss is like totally nuts. Like, why doesn't she suspect someone?
Yeah.
She didn't, but that's okay. She's come on board now, right? She's on board. Lynn thinks something might be up with her boss. Right? Great. She finally comes along. The FBI, they're not so bright.
What was it like for you, reading these scripts and having that moment of realization where you're like, oh, yes, finally?
Oh, I loved it. I think, in fact, Tim Kring, one of our incredible creators, was on the set the day that I felt Lynn actually got smart, and I was like, yes, I love you, thank you. I mean, I'm making fun of it, but I do. I mean, obviously, part of Lynn's role in the show is to be very factual, and Peter's is a more emotional journey, and to be the person who's always held back when that's probably the opposite of who I am. To be very practical and factual was kind of difficult for me. I wanted to be the one who knew everything, but in fact, it's very important and, of course, very true that she's a person in power in a very important position and needs to be very specific about when she would start looking at something that wouldn't necessarily be able to be proven.
So what's it like for you as an actress then getting to play an arc like that?
Oh, I loved it. It's just incredible. People are so enthused about this show and have been from the beginning, and I've never been, maybe given a role that makes me seem so smart, not so fun. No, and I wanted to kick butt. Like, I wanted to be an action hero, so it was really cool for me. You haven't seen what I did yet, but I mean, it gets good. It's
Yeah.
and gory.
Does it?
Yeah. I posted way too many pictures of me bloody. I did. I just was like, this is awesome.
What are those days like? Because I would imagine there's always an element of like, I'm like living out a little bit of a dream right now when you get to play those action-y scenes or you're covered in blood. Like, that's not normal life.
No, it's not. In fact, it's really incredible. And of course, so much of this story is very meaningful in so many different ways. And there are so many different threads and stories that are based in some truths and also have deep roots in history and in the history of Israel and the history of Jerusalem, all of these incredible things that do give so much weight to every scene that you're playing. And then you're in the location. So it's easiest. I always say the less I can act, the better. And when you're shooting in these incredible locations and then all of a sudden you're a part of a demonstration and you're being pulled out of a car, and that was an incredible moment. And I know that show has been seen where we were in Gideon Raff, our other creator, directed that episode, and it was extraordinary. It's an extraordinary thing to feel like you are in a moment that is allowing an audience to see something that they probably have not participated in, like a riot in the Middle East. So when you're a part of that and getting to play that out, it is magical, and it is a dream, especially when you have Gideon singing like rock songs on the side going, you rock this right, and you're like, wait, okay. So there's an incredible balance of amazing artists coming together when they're doing something so intense and also allowing it to be something that is magical because we're getting an opportunity to do it.
Yeah. What are those moments that help you guys keep it light when you're shooting something like, like a riot in the street and you and your co-star are getting dragged out of cars, like in between cut and the next action, is it all songs?
On this show, there was both Jason and Gideon like to play music a lot. And I think everybody has a different way of kind of managing how intense it is. Is this SAG or the WGA? No, I'm kidding. I know we're at SAG. So actors, you guys haven't figured out not to take me seriously yet. Okay. Actors have a way of balancing and being able to go incredibly intense. Some go deep and deeper into it, and they can't get out of it. Method actors, that's one way to go. The other way to go is what I would do is say, I'm clearly in a romantic comedy, but nobody else gets it. So that when I need to go dark, I go into my own corner and weep, and then I will allow for that. But I don't like to stay in that too long. I like it to be for the screen only, if I can.
Yeah, you talked about shooting on location. How much of the character, or how much of building the character, is informed by the location?
Oh, so much. We had so much help. I mean, on this, USA was such an incredible supporter of this show, and and needed to be, honestly. We were shooting in Israel, and then we couldn't shoot in Israel because the conflict broke out in Gaza again, and still, even in changing locations to Croatia and needing to take breaks and do so many different things to make the entire show work again with the commitment of Tim and Gideon, and it's incredible. Not only were we in locations that were stunning, we had costumes and down to the, as I think you can see, the detail. When you're surrounded in something that's that truthful, it's hard not to be yourself.
What was it like spending time in Jerusalem?
It's absolutely beautiful. I can't say that I thought I would probably take my kids or family to the Middle East as one of our next destinations for summer vacation. But when we did, we were embraced. The show was obviously embraced. Gideon is from there. There was a lot of passion. There is a lot of passion, whether you're from there or not, about the Holy Land. And of course, that's part of what this show deals with.
Yeah. What's it like for you being able to take that opportunity professionally and sort of enrich your kids' lives with that?
I mean, it's astounding. I mean, to tell you the truth, I believe our lives were changed. We went to the Sea of Galilee, and we went and walked the streets of Jerusalem, and saw it's the impact of being there regardless of how much you know or how much you understand what the conflict is, or you are obsessed with the conflict, no matter what side you're on, there is a holy land there that is affecting to your heart when you have the opportunity to stand there. And for that, we were incredibly grateful.
Yeah. So where would this rank in your, if you look at your body of work, where would this experience rank in that list? You may,
like,
you
was
may
it
have,
Hawaii or
you may have
Jerusalem that had a
people
bigger impact?
that
Is sunning in the ocean
yeah.
shore or walking the streets where Jesus walked more impactful? I mean, the stories are fun. Both of them are really fun. But, when you look at your husband and he's like, wow, I mean, like, Jesus walked here. You're like, okay, that's something that I don't think many people have an opportunity to say that, and my children can say it, and that's, of course, one of the reasons I do what I do is to be able to give my children opportunities to have experiences that kids don't normally have. I don't know if anybody else said that when they got back from school vacation this year.
So pretty high? I'm just kidding. So what was it about this project that really piqued your interest? When a script like this with names like Gideon and Tim, is that a for sure like,
right.
yes,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
doing this,
Tim,
wait,
is
you
he
want me
here?
to do, I'm doing it.
I know Tim's here.
Oh.
I'm just saying, no, I mean, it was okay. Tim Kring, I mean, he did Heroes, like, Tim, for goodness sakes, are you not a special guest? Are we at the Writers Guild of America? Can you please say hello? He's really the one to answer this question. You haven't seen it yet? Yeah, you knew no idea.
What did you think? Was it all right?
Yeah.
Good episode? Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's one thing that he says with much humility, worked hard on it. How long does it usually take you to shoot 10 episodes of a show, just as an example? No, it did. It totally felt like massive amounts of time. Yes, like when am I going back? And I took a trip to Croatia 3 times this year. Nobody can say that, except Tim, maybe. I'm having a hard time with you being off stage. Is it okay if I ask you to come up on stage with me? Thank
right,
you,
here we
because
go.
this is the reason this show exists. Tim Kring, everybody, creator.
Can we get him a mic?
No, it's really funny, but I got really lucky because they were like, well, we can't shoot in Israel because conflict broke out, and we're like, oh, okay, that's fine, we'll go. Don't worry, we're out of here. But then it became this kind of blessing for me because it was summer, and I got to have a few weeks as they were busting their butts trying to figure out how we were going to move this show to another country. And I got to kind of lollygag peacefully with my children.
I mean, the truth is that the move from Israel to both Croatia and New Mexico had some pluses as well. I mean, we were trying, as you see with Lauren Ambrose's storyline, takes place in New Mexico, and they leave the compound and they go out and they go to the scenes in motels and diners and gas stations and all of that kind of stuff, and to be really honest, we were having a tremendously hard time finding that stuff in Israel because we were meant to shoot that entire storyline in Israel. And we thought, it's a desert country and we can make it look like the Southwest. And, the truth is you can't. And
No Navajo blankets.
yeah,
What
that's
is
right.
going on?
And when we got to New Mexico, I mean, we spent weeks trying to find, something that looked like an American diner, and we drove, up and down the coast and of Israel looking for this, and then when we got to New Mexico, you literally could, turn around in any direction and throw a rock and hit some location that you could shoot in. And so in that respect, it was actually a bit of a blessing to be able to find these other places to film.
When it comes to planning a production, is that, is something that drastic normal? Is that abnormal?
It was way abnormal. I mean, yeah, this was really crazy.
Never been there.
Yeah, we were supposed to shoot the entire thing in Israel, and there was in a set amount of time, and this whole idea of moving to Croatia, moving to New Mexico, going back and filming, sort of second unit stuff in Israel, it was never supposed to happen that way.
Yeah. So what is the bond like amongst the cast and crew with you guys hopping all over the globe, spending so long together? I would imagine that you guys have formed a pretty tight group. No? Not at all?
Or sick of each
This
other.
is the first time you guys have met?
Who is this guy? I think there was, to be honest, as you see, there are so many different stories that intertwine, and we did shoot those stories very separately. It was almost like we would come on and, hey, oh my gosh, I'm such a big fan. Wait, are you in this show? Oh my,
And
right?
it was amazing when you watch the show. Only those of us who know how it was filmed know. Oh, that shot there is in Croatia. Oh no, and then they walk through the door. Oh, that's in New Mexico. That's it, right? I mean, it's just incredible. You'll walk out of one door and be literally in the pilot. If those of you who saw the pilot, there's a scene at the end where Peter is chasing a car, and he chases it down to Emma's apartment, and half of that chase was filmed in Jerusalem in June, and the other half was filmed in Croatia in January.
Wow.
9 months later.
And Jason's hair didn't grow.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of movie magic.
So would you read, how far ahead in your scripts would you read? Did you go through like a page turner? Were you hooked from the first page, or did you want to see how it would play out once these guys got a chance to work their magic on it?
Well, there were a couple of different things. Of course, I read the pilot before I met Tim and Gideon, and what it was wait, what? How can this be happening? The dream of getting a script and going, wow, I can't believe it. Of course, I want to be a part of this. And then I'm an actor who, if you tell me someone's a bad guy, but they're supposedly a good guy in act one, I'm like, forget it. I know you're a bad guy. I'm never going to play that you're a good guy. Don't tell me. Mm-hmm. So I said to them, just please don't let me know. I think Lynn needs to know the facts, but everybody says I'm an open book. It's just going to be bad. I'm just going to blow it for everybody in episode 2 if I know character B is a bad guy. So everyone kind of teased me. Jason is a different kind of actor. He likes to know everything and building and wanted to know. And so it kind of became a joke, like, don't tell Anne what's going on. Don't tell Anne. And so people would tell me different things. I ended up arriving just going, am I dead this week? Because somebody's going to die. Is it me?
No, but it's true. Anne is very in the moment when she acts. And there's a really fantastic quality to that is very refreshing, that doesn't need a tremendous amount of you don't need to, you sort of don't need to know where which is great because you're playing very real reactions in the moment to things. And
It
and
gets
it shows
hard.
on the screen.
It gets hard to be a person who knows story and knows where it's supposed to be going. And if you have writers that you're lucky enough that there's no way, once they thought you would, and you've all watched it, so you think it's going to go one way, there's no way. Nobody in a million years thought that Lynn's boss, maybe it was Lynn, like I got a lot of people saying Lynn's clearly the bad, like that's some storytelling that maybe we've seen before where you thought it was Lynn. So the things that you thought and were going to expect weren't, obviously, because of the way these guys tell story. But for me, it gets very tricky because I've been in the business a long time. And so I start to have these manifestations and of like what's going to happen. And to be for me, as pure as I needed Lynn to be, truly, I couldn't be all that bombarded with that. And that was the only approach I thought I could take with such a complicated story. And it's not necessarily the one I would take otherwise, because usually I'm trying to make a character more complicated. In this, I was trying to simplify so that everything else could be the complication that I was trying to figure out.
And it's such a pastiche style of storytelling. There's multiple stories. They all have different pace and different tone. And it's only in seeing it as a whole that the audience gets the kind of whole gestalt of it. So I don't know that it really requires any one. It's not like you're carrying the story on your back. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. And
driving it through every scene. And so you get to just be a piece of this bigger puzzle that as a whole just kind of works, it washes over you, and you don't need to be carrying it, as I said, on your back.
So if we're talking about pieces of a puzzle, we've got a special surprise for you guys here tonight. Why don't we bring her out? Let's see if she's
Surprise.
a surprise.
It's not the heifer.
Don't.
Heifers probably, by the way, there were 6
Full-size
heifers.
cow by now.
It's the beautiful red of the story, the
Let's-
most gorgeous red. Allison Sudol, I know, is here. The
come I didn't
gorgeous
know that?
redhead.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Guys, we're all very happy to see you alive and well. We're happy to see your character back. Was that a hard secret for you to keep?
Terrible. I mean, it's so difficult when you're supposedly only in one episode, you die, and then you have an entire year of filming that you're in different countries, and you're just going, what, people are like, what are you doing? And I'm like,
You know, there was a little bit of a hint that you were doing a lot more publicity than somebody who just
dies. I guess so. I don't know. It was really difficult, and I'm really terrible at keeping secrets. So I basically just didn't say anything. Like, I had a hair color change, which now we've seen, and again, because I just can't stay still. And I just didn't do any social media forever because, you know, like, why did you dye your hair? Because I felt like having black hair or something. I don't know. It was really tough. It was really tough.
So how early in this did you guys have the conversation that said, you know, we're going to kill you at the end of the pilot, but we'll bring you back? Trust me.
That was so insane. I'm very new to acting. This was my second big second role. Thank you. And so I auditioned, and there was this sort of sense, even from early on, Emma is an important character. She's very important, and I'm going, I mean, I must really die. Like, I must die hard, or I didn't understand, or if it was a Laura Palmer thing, or what. And then I remember there was some discussing of contracts and things, and they said, oh, we will need you in Israel until pretty much the end of the year, and this was March. And I was going, I do not understand what they mean, like how I just couldn't compute. And then we had a conversation, you and Gideon.
you die after like 5 minutes.
I
of screen
die,
time.
yeah. It didn't add up. And then I remember them saying, okay, here's the thing. And you gave me basically the tiniest amount of information. You still kept me in the dark, but it was basically like, you didn't die, and this whole thing was a ruse, and you were sort of tricking him. And then I was just like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I just got so, I think I walked around the house probably for a good hour, just stopping in places and going like, what? and then because you still didn't give me
No,
any.
listen, I have to say, it was a very difficult thing to, because, I mean, partly because you were new to acting, that was what was so appealing about the character, is there was a kind of, there wasn't a lot of, you were playing it very pure because it was as written, right? And so we kept thinking that the more we told you, the harder it would be to play that purity, right? Yeah. Plus, we needed to maintain the secrecy of what ended up happening. So, yes, it was a little cruel, I guess.
So you had to tell Allison less. You had to tell Anne less.
Yes.
Like, do you just, was that policy on set? Like, if you have a question, I'm not going to answer it for you.
People knew.
I need a backstory. Like, it'll be fine.
I think
I just
people.
think you told Jason the wrong thing.
Right, we always told Jason the wrong thing.
Yeah.
How did
And then
he
us,
react?
nothing. It tells you what writers, how much respect they have for actors. Like, we can't tell you because you won't be able to play it the way we want you to. We know you're brilliant, but anyways, you're pure. Just keep it pure.
That's kind of what.
I think it's the way you would like to do it all the time. You just don't have the excuse.
That's right. This time we did. We had a real.
It's a really big secret.
The truth is, we didn't really know where it was going. So.
That can't be
Damping the
true.
whole-
Did doing the show, I mean, obviously in the writing of it, but did working on the show make you conspiracy theorists a little bit? Do you start looking for the coded message behind everything that you see? Well, maybe not everything, but many things that you see?
What's going on right now? Are we being trapped?
Yes,
I-
2/3 of these people are in some sort of secret society.
You're all in it. I don't know. I definitely was just complete. At a certain point, I was like, I think I will have no idea what's actually happening until the end, and that was accurate. That was probably the most accurate thing I thought about the entire time, was I will get it wrong no matter what I think. So I'm just going to, let you tell us what to do in the moments. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, we had lots of. Because we had so many twists and turns, and to be honest, we had at one point a longer number of episodes that we were planning to do, and so things were spaced out in a slightly different way than they ended up being.
What was your writer's room board? What did that look like?
It was pretty great. I mean, Sharon, who wrote the episode that we saw tonight, is here. It was a really fun writer's room. I mean, we actually had, we knew we were going to Israel to start prepping in early May, and we started the writer's room in early January, and we left with what? With seven scripts written, and 8 broken, and so we really worked very quickly and were very efficient, and it was just a fantastic room. It was small but really good. Gideon and I have similar styles of breaking stories. We don't get bogged down in minutia very much. We go for really big ideas and let the staff sort of help us fill in all the details. But we both say yes to things a lot, and so we sort of share that ability.
So, Allison, given that this was your second job, I mean, what was it like for you showing up on set with this team of people? Or,
Amazing, incredible cast. At first, when we sat down at the table read, which I'd never done before, I was so painfully nervous and shy and terrified. And I didn't even know at that point how important table reads are. I only just found that out about a week ago, that you could get fired. I just assumed I was going to get fired. I didn't know that actually happened, but I thought if it didn't, I would be the first one that did. but you know, I just from the get-go, I just said to everybody, I was like, look, I'm new and I'm terrified and I want to do a good job. Please let me learn from you in any way, shape, or form. Like, if there's anything that you can share about your process or about how to deal with certain things, I would just so appreciate it. And it's a testament to everybody, really, that everyone took me under their wing privately and also in more collectives. I had lots of the most extraordinary dinners with different members of the cast who we don't share storylines with. We just shared meals, and they told me about their lives and their stories and how they do it, and how they survive the business and tricks. And you know, when I was getting intimidated, they just shared with me their own stories. And it seems like, you know, we're all in this same boat. Like, we all get scared before a job. I thought it was just me because I'm new, but everybody does. And everybody gets self-conscious, and everybody has moments of doubt. And you just learn your own way of dealing with it. And you focus on the work, and you show up, and you're professional, and you learn your lines, and you just do your best, and you listen. Like, that's, you know, everybody just like kept breaking it down for me. And then also David Costable, who's like the coolest guy ever. One day I was like having a really terrible time with being on camera and like being very, very self-conscious. And he basically said, like, take all of the things that you hate about yourself, all the things that you're secretly, like, hating about yourself. And he's like, put them on a basketball team. So I had, like, short neck and crazy arms. Crazy arms, like, bingo wings, basically. Like, these are all the, like, the terrible things that you tell yourself in your mind, like, how horrible you are. And he was like, put them all on individual members on the basketball team. And then he said, and then when you go to play, just ask them to sit on the bench. And he's like, you're all still on a team, guys. We're all on the same team, but, like, I need to go play the game. I'm going to, like, hang out with you, short neck and crazy arms, afterwards. Like, it's cool. But I'm going to go, like, do my job, and I'll come back. And literally, I cannot tell you what that did. Like, look your fears in the face. Look all the things you hate about yourself in the face. Say it out loud and laugh at them, and then do your job. And that's, like, that was the best advice I could have possibly gotten.
I like that.
Yeah, he's a brilliant guy.
And you've worked with incredible people, De Niro, Harrison Ford. Have you ever gotten a really solid piece of advice from one of the people you've worked with?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
She's so deep. Okay, and by the way, just for the record, nobody knew it was your first or second time. You were absolutely lovely and gorgeous and blew everybody away at the reading
table
and
reads,
all
yeah.
the way through the show. So it was incredibly surprising to hear that you were nervous or what. And yes, we all get nervous, but you were stunning all the way through. And by the way, if you weren't, you would have gotten booted from that table. Now I know the truth of that, actually, is frighteningly true. Okay, I'll tell, just because I think it's so hilarious, because so many people help you along the way, and they do, and they help you with your fears, and people move you through, and it's the glorious thing about acting and being on a set, that everybody around you wants you to be great, because if you're not, they look bad, the show is bad. I mean, there really is, as you all, I'm sure, have experienced by now, everybody wants everybody to be terrific, and if you don't, you're a jerk. Like, help each other out, have fun, and look and love and joy at each other. But when I showed up for my first, I'm most scary with Harrison was the most, I mean, what everybody I work with, I'm intimidated by anyways. But I showed up with Harrison the first day, and we were doing a scene, of course, a two-shot, because that's all we did. The whole movie was the two of us. And I looked at him, and I'm looking at him, and it comes around for my close-up, and he does a close-up, and he goes back to the cameras, and he looks, and he's like, fine, move on. He saw his first take. He was like, great, I'm not doing it again. Go to her. And we come... And the camera comes around, and as I know it's coming around, and they're taking all this time, and all of a sudden it's the biggest movie I've ever done. I honestly want to throw up all over the place. But I'm thinking, just look, just be yourself. Whatever I used to tell myself like an idiot, just be your true self. You're just the character. And I look at him, and whatever, action, I do a take, and he goes, sweetheart, you're not a movie star. And I was like, oh my God, I want to die. He goes, movie stars look in one eye. It's the eye closest to the camera. And if you don't do it, you ain't gonna be a movie star. I'm like, this is the wisdom. This is friggin' Indiana Jones telling mama how to act. Okay, hold on. And I said, you know what, Harrison, I'm just not that kind of an actress. Barf. What a stupid thing to say. And he said, okay, let's do another take. Roll, action. I look at him and he goes like this. We did the take. He ran back to the cameras. He looked at my take. He's like, great, moving on, next scene. I never forgot it, of course. I've said it to so many people because when the camera is right here and you're looking and you move your eyes, it looks like you're looking all over the world. So take it as a gift if you want to be a movie star. Look in the eye of the guy who's right by the camera, and you'll make it as far as I did. At least I'm working with these guys.
Good, sensible advice.
I
Tim,
have
now
no
you know how to do
advice, having never been in front of the camera.
Well, just tell everybody.
No
one
desire to.
one eye. Since I'm sure this is a room mostly populated by actors, I'm sure people have the question, or you must get the question frequently of, what's the key thing to do to help you get an agent or a manager or something that can help you bring your career to the place where you feel like it should be?
I don't know, does everybody in the room pretty much have an agent? No, huh? Shoot, I don't know.
Do we know some people? Can we make some calls right now?
I think, and I don't know because I have a different story and I'm very blessed, but I think continuing to do work in theater makes people go to shows, and if your shows are talked about, the word gets around. I mean, talent is found, so you have to work. You cannot be discovered in your living room, and that's just the truth. If you're good at what you do and you shine that light all over the place and don't make people take no for an answer, somebody is going to find you and give you an opportunity. That's what I think. I mean, that's what I do for people who don't have agents. If you shine the light, I swear to God, you will find your path.
Allison, how did you make the transition into acting from songwriting? I don't know if you guys know that she's...
And singing.
Songwriting and singing. I
I like that you led with songwriting. That's
Yeah.
great. No, that's like my favorite part is the writing. That again, I have a weird story. I am the kid of two actors, so I vowed that I'd never be an actor, and it just was like, don't never say never. I was on David Letterman as a singer, and this manager saw me on Letterman. So that's a weird. I
So
mean, that's
go-
like not
go
a
get on
normal.
Letterman.
Go get on Letterman, and then you go no.
Pretty-
But.
Pretty simple.
It's a really, really circuitous route, and it doesn't really usually lead to acting. But anyway, he saw me on Letterman, and he was like, "You can act," and I said, "You're really great, but you're crazy. I can't act." And then he just like stuck around, and but I think I don't necessarily know what your path will be to getting an agent, because there's many different ways of theater, or there's like just like good old fashioned like going out there and meeting people, like making stuff with your friends or whatever. I don't know how you can do it, but just make sure that you end up with someone, make sure that you choose someone who actually sees you and understands you and believes in you, and don't just go with somebody because they just say yes. Like, make sure that you're with someone that you can really go the long haul with, because it really makes a difference in building a career. I have great support with people that get me, and that's rare, but you can totally find that. You just have to yeah, find it. Good advice, huh? Helpful.
Let me just say that as someone who casts people, I see so many of the same people, over the years. When you open up for a part and you audition for a part, and you end up seeing a lot of the same people, and sometimes that's exactly what you want. And you want, when you're casting, you're thinking about somebody, you're thinking about Anne Heche, and you want to go. But so many other times you want to find somebody that is new, and you want to find faces and actors that have not had a lot of experience before. And so I think there's this, and especially now with so much television being made, and the only way to break out is to try and be new and be different on TV. And sometimes that's about finding, sort of fresh faces. One of the things that was so exciting with this show is the faces that are on this show that you don't see. The, opening up to the Israeli actors that were just spectacular. And I think it really set the show apart, made it look like something, that wasn't on television here. But I just think that, anybody who is pursuing acting should know that people like me are always interested in finding people that
going off of that,
haven't
then,
been seen before.
Is there? I've never been in a casting room. Is there a thing that you see that just sort of reads as stale that a lot of people come in and do, or does it change? Part to part?
I mean, listen, it's so amazing how somebody who is so wrong for so long, you've seen them over and over and over, and they're always wrong. They come in and they just never get it, and then can be so right for the right part. It's just amazing, and that's always very refreshing. But I have to say, the two most sort of rewarding parts of casting, which I love, I absolutely love the casting, is when you have in your mind who you want and you go out and find them in. It usually comes from sitting down and having a meal with somebody that you wanted. That's really fun because that's at a very high level of casting. It's not, it's not through the normal. It's through relationships and talking about story and script and you know what I mean. Like it's actually really talking about art and the work. And then the other is the experience that we had with Allison, when she walked in, literally, and there must have been. I don't know, we saw 10, 12 people that day.
There were way more than 10 or 12 people
that day,
outside.
easily.
And a lot of girls out there.
And it was just really exciting to see somebody and something that you weren't seeing for days and days and days and days. And that's one of those great, fantastic things, that walk into the room and you kind of can't even put your finger on it. But I showed that tape to several people and said, check this out and see if you see the same thing that we do.
I like that. And then
you took a risk. You took a massive risk.
It paid off.
Thank you.
Before
it does happen.
Before we wrap up, we've got a couple of questions from the audience. And they're from people to people, but maybe we'll just have everybody answer if that's cool. From Scott to Anne, please share a fun or funny experience on set. Also, what do you like to do when you're not working?
I can't top the covering the eye story.
How about from Dig? Specifically from this one. No fun experiences? Just sand in the
One
eye?
of my funnest times is getting to an airport, which was my entire life on this show, was running through an airport. I was either getting to a plane or to get to a location or getting back to my family. It was a year of airports. And the fun was sitting down after hours and hours and hours of flying. And one of my funnest times, I will tell you, is sitting down and Allie's sitting there and I'm like, oh, thank God. Because I was used to being crunched in between There were a lot of overweight people. I have to tell you. I became the person that was scrunched. I don't know why. I attracted a lot of overweight. I actually have a picture of me that I sent to my husband where an ass is so far up my face that my face is in the crotch of another human being. I don't choose this normally. And I thought, I'm never gonna, this is it. This is 2.5 hours of my life. And I took the shot and was like, so it was incredibly refreshing. The day I get to go and I'm like, lovely, I see lovely Allison. She's not bruised, she's not cut, she's not, and we got to have, the dig was about the experience of the letting go of the experience that I had getting there, I would say, across the board. What else?
What do you like to do when you're not on set? When you're not working? Travel.
Into my face. Oh my God.
How about for you? How about for you guys? Did you?
Let me just wait. I'm gonna just, because there was a tremendous amount of fun on the set, and whenever Gideon is on the set, it's very body kind of humor. And but I want to tell the story of the first day that we met on the set, when you probably don't know, we came into the I don't know, it was the hair and makeup trailer, and we had to change. We had this line in the script. The script was written, we didn't know that we were gonna. The script was written on spec, and so the language in the script was meant for cable, and so we had this line. If you recall, the line was, "As your boss or your fuck buddy." Right? That was the line.
That was the line.
Right? And we had to. So I came to Anne saying, we have to change this line to something else. What do you think? And Anne just launched into a kind of soliloquy of alternate versions of the word fuck buddy. That just
PG-rated fuck
each
buddy.
one
Do you
was
remember the
more
best one?
absurd than the last.
What did we land on?
God. Well, we landed on something very safe, like sex buddy, I think is what we. But the string of profanity that was unleashed, because the joke was that fuck buddy is dirty, but everything she said was dirtier, and so the goal was to make it cleaner, and she just kept going farther and farther
Can't
and
ask me.
farther and farther. I was like, okay.
If you want me to write your show, give me a paycheck. You go figure out the line.
Exactly.
That's what ended it. The punchline was, you wrote it, you figure out the answer.
So I knew we were in for some fun times.
And anytime he asked me, by the way, if I had an alternate, he was like, okay. Just for
Okay.
fun, tell me what you might say.
And then from Gail, we talked about this a little bit. But for you guys, what surprised you the most about Israel?
Oh, there's so much.
Well, I was surprised at how fun Tel Aviv was. I think that was something that a lot of people seem to know, but I had always, I just didn't have any idea. It is so vibrant, and people are ridiculously good looking. It's really weird. It's like everybody is just kind of flock there, and their honey-colored skin and their long, beautiful, flowing brown into golden ombre naturally locks, and you're just like, what? I also felt really weird because I had bright red hair and was white as could be and had to wear a long sleeve bathing suit because you wouldn't get a tan, so I looked like the biggest weirdo. But yeah, it's awesome. But Tel Aviv, yeah, it's and then
It's
Jerusalem.
very safe. That's the other thing that's surprising about it.
Yeah, you don't feel at all you can just ride your bike at night and not feel strange at all. I wouldn't do that in LA at all. I don't really ride a bike anyway in LA, because I don't want to. But yeah.
Jerusalem felt very, very different than Tel Aviv. Jerusalem has a kind of kind of seriousness to it that Tel Aviv doesn't have. And very powerful and very in its own way, but not fun like Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
But you can feel, like, even if you're not religious, because I'm not religious, but like you feel something in Jerusalem. You feel the energy. You feel like you can't help but be moved by it. It's pretty extraordinary. Even if you think like, oh, I'm going to this historical place. Like it's really palpable.
The last part of Gail's question: what was the best thing you ate in Israel?
Israeli salad. Every morning, every afternoon, they serve it with eggs, chopped up cucumbers, fresh tomatoes, and they put mint in and on everything. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Israeli
mint.
breakfast is not to be.
It is just
outdone.
Gorgeous, fresh food. Everybody eats.
There's
really
a specific
beautifully.
reference to Israeli breakfast in the show.
right.
What is it? I didn't look it up.
You know, it's a lot of vegetables and a lot of salad and you know, poached eggs and fresh bread, and you know, it's just really it's
like healthy.
Yeah, it's very healthy.
In a really
yeah.
beautiful, like juicy way.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's a whole kind of the hummus.
Hummus.
Yeah. Hummus.
Hummus. I kept getting told that. Hummus. You have to like
Hummus.
hummus. That's not right.
No?
That's not right.
I don't know.
Doesn't taste anything like it does here.
No?
Yeah, it's really fabulous.
Huh. Well, on that note, let's go find something to eat, shall we? Guys, thank you so much. Thank you, guys.